because that is very relevant information, of course. Yeah.
I think because
We
it's
will take it up.
Is off your okay.
Yeah. So, respected Miss Ciska Harte, leadership specialist and director, Velites, Miss Marieke de Wijse, sorry for this. Yeah. So these are the two experts, distinguished experts from the Netherlands. Dr. Rupali, Dr. Jigyasu, and other participants. Yes, greetings of the day. On behalf of Shri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya, Indore, I extend very warm welcome to all of you on the 68th edition of our Pratiti webinar series. It's really a proud moment for us that we have conducted many webinars under this series. And today's theme, evaluating impact through simulation and games. This reflects a very spirit of our Center of Excellence in Simulation and Gaming to explore innovative ways of learning, teaching, and accessing impact. I believe this is the newest pedagogy learned through gaming and the new way. It is very interesting way to us. We are truly honored to have with us the distinguished experts from the Netherlands, Ms. Marieke and Ms. Ciska Harte. Your presence enrich this platform and bring global perspectives that will surely inspire our faculty, researchers, and students. In this Shri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth, we believe the simulation and gaming are not just the tool and education, but powerful approach for shaping mindsets, fostering leadership, and evaluating outcome in a dynamic and engaging manner. This session is another step towards our vision of blending traditional wisdom and modern technologies and building a learning ecosystem that is both rigorous and creative. I also take this opportunity to acknowledge Dr. Jigyasu, coordinator of the Center of Excellence in Simulation and Gaming, for his consistent effort in curating such meaningful sessions. I wish today's webinar great success and encourage all participants to engage actively. I believe ask questions and carry forward new insights to their own academic and professional journey. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your motivating words and for setting the tone for today's webinar. And now it's my privilege to welcome and introduce our distinguished speakers from the Netherlands, Ms. Marieke de Wijse-van Heeswijk, intervention effect researcher at Radboud University, an experienced scholar in evaluating interventions in simulation and gaming using both qualitative and quantitative approaches. She has been associated with iSaga and SagaNet for many years, contributing deeply to the global gaming community. Another speaker is Ms. Ciska Harte, leadership specialist and director at Velites, who works at the intersection of leadership, organizational change, and experiential learning. She designs innovative leadership journeys and serious games that have been widely recognized in organizational development. Another speaker is Ms. Jennifer Excel, corporate sociologist and director at Studio Toy Toy Netherlands. So together they will.
Jennifer is not here. Only Ciska and Marieke.
Okay. Okay. So we have two speakers in this session, Ms. Marieke and Ms. Ciska Harte. So together they will share their perspective on evaluating impact through simulation and games, offering us valuable insights that connect research and real-world applications. I now invite Ms. Marieke and Ms. Ciska to deliver their session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Rupali, for this introduction, and thank you for having us, actually. I'm just wondering, is everybody able to see my screen with the presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much. Yes, we are actually honored to be here and be able to share our insights in learning effects and the transfer of serious games. And yeah, we're going to share you some outcomes on the research that actually Marieke organized with. She did a lot of studies, and she was here before as well with a couple of presentations. But we have some fruitful insights that we want to share with you today as well. And as Marieke started, usually I'm now doing the start, so it's my first time over here. So just let me know if everything works for you. So the research that we're going to share two examples actually, or actually we will try to talk about two examples of that research that shows different methods how to actually measure the impact of the interventions that we are using in our work. We're gonna use two examples. So one of our company of Velites, that is the president's speech, and the other one is at the ZMS in Stuttgart, where actually there was TopSim, common management game. This is the agenda for today. So we're gonna first discuss a little bit about the context and why do we want to actually evaluate learning in the simulations, and why it's so important. We're going to talk about the conceptual lens, the research examples, where what I mentioned earlier, the setup and the methods and the findings, of course. And we have some discussion and exchange time. But Marieke and myself, we know ourselves, and we know time is our biggest enemy. So it could be that we are not able to discuss all that we want to discuss today due to time limits. But we have the presentation available for everybody. There are more slides in there that we might not be able to discuss right now, but you are more than welcome to continue the discussion and reach out to both Marieke and myself later on as well. So yeah, Marieke and myself, we're gonna guide you through this journey. And Marieke, maybe you know her already. She is really famous within the research section on serious games, what you already mentioned. She has over 20 years experience in research, researching, but she is also she facilitator and an advisor. Like you said, Rupali, she's member of this ISAGA board and also an active member within SagaNet, and she has over 25 publications on the effects of intervention in around game simulations and experiential learning. I'm not that far in the way that I'm just over 15 years actually within this business, within this industry, and I'm coming from actually the logistics industry, and I have a law background. And the reason why I started to become interested in serious games is, like already was said, it's just not a tool in education. It's more like a behavior that you can change as well, and it's more about the whole curriculum, the whole road. And I saw within the companies where I worked for that there were a lot of actually learning programs where you had to tick off the boxes and then it was okay, but did you really learn something? That was always the question. What was the impact? So that is my biggest interest, and that is why I started this company. And in the meanwhile, I became certified within the profession of playful learning, and I got nominated for the Learning and Development Thought Leader Award as well, where I'm kind of proud of. But yeah, I think that's enough about us. I think we can start with the context and the motivation why we are actually measuring and why it's so important to measure the effects of the interventions that you are using. And Marieke, I'm giving you the floor to explain that a little bit more.
Yeah. Why do we want to measure? Well, it's obvious. We want to know what's being learned. But measuring what's being learned in the simulation games is rather complex. because it's also implicit. It's also happening during the process. It's also in the minds of the people. It's happening during the reflections, and often a long time after simulation games, important coins drop on learning insights. And also, even if you use a questionnaire and you ask, what did you learn? Or you ask that question in the debriefing, responses often low. People are still internalizing, are still processing, often already embodied their new knowledge without being really conscious of what they actually learned. We have this also from research that we really captured that they learned a lot more than they thought they learned. And there's methods to do this, and I will share it in the presentation of the further of the presentation with you. And also self-reports. So any question you ask to a person, okay, what did you learn? What do you think? How satisfied are you? They are hugely biased. It's not on purpose that people do not give complete answers. They just don't know. You have to help them explicit what they have learned. And of course, you can use mixed methods. I do this as well. But just mixed methods, they are sort of generalization. That doesn't give you really specific answers to what actually has been learned overall. And often it is still a self-report, still something you say about what you have been learning. And this is complicated because learning is also a difficult process. It's often not seeing your expectations come out. It's often a bit uncomfortable. Oh, I intended well, and I still didn't get the result I wanted. But this actual being in this level of frustration, we also call it the valley of despair in simulation game, that actually triggers you to a lot more learning and also often deeper learning. So this is why the simulation games are unique. They often get this learning out, while other learning methods are more on just knowledge internalization. Yeah. So what should we do then? We should use multiple sources of evidence to see what's actually been learned. And I'll give you plenty of examples like that. And there's no lab coat required. You don't have to work at the university. Ciska doesn't work at the university. These are methods that nearly everyone can use, and you can also make a selection of what methods fit with your program, with your comfort zone, what you think could render the best insight in your curriculum, in your simulation game. It's also true that there are sometimes standard learning measure instruments, and they can have added value. And I will give you also a couple of examples in this presentation. But every simulation game is unique, and the way the facilitator facilitates it makes it even uniquer. And also every time you have different participants. So using only standardized material often is not enough. It's additional, but it's often not enough. And another tool you have to explicit learning is your facilitator, or you as yourself as facilitator, because you can actually make learning more explicit by building in reflection loops within the game mechanics, but also in between timeout moments when reflection on gaming happens. So these are great moments also for participants to respond to each other, to ask further questions, to get the deeper learning going. But these are actually also making the learning visual and having people respond to each other. And this is for us as researchers very good material to take as genuine learning measurements, because that is where the real learning happens, of course. So learning becomes much more measurable if you integrate it into facilitation design. And the great thing about this is also it leverages learning at the same time. So it makes your job as facilitator much less hard. It gives you more insight in the learning process. Also, the participants get more insight into the learning process. And it's really not that hard. So we have two perspectives we take in from understanding this complex learning behavior. So if you want to interfere complex behavior, you cannot do it with a simple thing, with a simple standardized thing. It's a sort of reversed complexity. Ashby, this is a great theorist, systems theorist, and systems theory goes very well with simulation and gaming because simulation and games are complex systems, complex social systems actually. And if you read the material of Ashby on complex systems, you can derive, so you can only counter complexity with complexity. So if I have a complex learning situation, I actually need a low complex learning measurement instrument because low complexity can incorporate a lot of complexity. So if I have all kinds of preset thoughts, they have to fit in their answers. But if you keep it rather open with open questions, then you can incorporate a lot of learning insights and variety. So I'll give you an example. A facilitator asks, okay, how did you feel at the start? Did you feel you understood what was happening and how you could fit your learning goal? Well, every participant can give their own unique answer, and that gives you very reliable and valid information. Yeah. And we take a second theoretical example that learning is experience and reflection. So even if the behavior in the game did not really look like very optimal, reflection on that behavior are even more important to learn and to establish learning. So learning starts with insight. Learning starts with feeling or handholds for learning. Maybe you cannot show directly yet the behavior in the game, but still a lot of important foundational learning steps are going on. So you also have to capture the reflection on the process that gives you much more reliable image to what is actually being learned than when you say, well, they didn't tick the box. They did not get all indicators, or they did not do all steps in the game. Yeah, so the reflection on the game is a super important source for simulation gaming measurements, for evaluation. So what I say, we advocate here for using multiple methods. And if one or two did not work, you already have plenty of info from the other sources. And it's not like you have to do a way lot of things to get this done. You can incorporate it in your facilitation design. You can incorporate it in the game reflections. If you use pre-structured questions, you can do a simple standardized measurement before and after, and together they give you a very good picture of what's happening.
Thank you, Marieke. So I think it's time to go to our first example, the president's speech. That was part of your study, actually. And the president's speech is a frame game. And a frame game is that I'm not sure if you know that term, but it is a game that you can use from multiple angles. It's more like a tool that you can actually, it doesn't have a fixed set of knowledge that you learn. It's more like open, like Marieke said as well. The more open your game is from a game design, the more open your facilitation is from a facilitation design, the more complexity you can absorb. That's the same with this game, actually. And the games that we develop, we do it from a triangle as well. So we have a play aim, we have a learning aim, and we have expected behavior, the behavior that we want to be seen, we want to trigger, actually. And because you have those three different angles, you can actually design it as well with different topics that are related to each other, but that are broader than only, for example, time management. So in this game, we have the play aim of you have to win the elections. So basically, the play aim is on how to write a speech and how to influence people. That's the reasoning behind that choice. The learning aim is actually, it's all about leadership styles. You have to write a speech for a certain candidate who wants to become a president, and every candidate has a different leadership style. How do you absorb the leadership style? How do you incorporate that in your speech? Does that match your own leadership preferred style? That is actually the learning aim that is designed within this game. And then you have the expected behavior, and that we designed that part on the adaptivity. How can you deal with change? Within the game, there's a lot happening, and we can actually structure the game in a way that you have to face a lot of change. You have to deal a lot with change. So basically the frame game, you see it as we use a triangle with these different angles. It's a frame game. You can use actually the angle that you want to use within your session, but you can also leave it open. Yeah, like I said, it was part of the effect study of Marieke and her team, and it appeared to be one of the best case scenario for the most optimal facilitation design. And I'm really proud of that. But I'm even more proud that it was designed in a way that it's actually even not that difficult to implement. Okay, it's difficult to have a good game design, but then if you add the layer of the facilitation design to it, it's actually, we didn't do really a lot of different when we played the game before, but by having that facilitation design placed on it, it became, you got much more impact as well. So the combination is so useful and fruitful as well, to not only look at the game design but also look at the facilitation design actually to get more impact. I want to go with you actually. I want to share you the game design first, and then I'm going to share with you the intervention that we used actually within the game. So from the game design, like I said, the game is you have to write a speech. There are elections, and you have to write a speech for a president, a candidate who wants to become the president. And there are different roles within that game. You have the role of a spin doctor. A spin doctor is somebody who actually knows the candidate and wants, who has the knowledge and the skills to write the speech in a way that you can influence people. Basically, the spin doctor, everybody can be the spin doctor, and we are rotating roles as well within the game. But if you ask somebody to write a speech, most of the people will tell me, I never did that before. I think it's really difficult. But within the game, we made it in a way that it's not that difficult at all. Basically, what you do is you get a card and you write your speech sentence by sentence. So you get a card, you write a sentence, you give it back to me or to the host, and you're gonna get a new card. So that is after you write a sentence, you follow the instructions on that action card, you get a new card, and you get it for a couple of minutes or a round. It's just how we set it up. So that is the really basics of the game and writing the speech. Then you have the role of the presidential candidate. So once that, for example, 5 minutes passed, everybody has kind of a speech developed, and there is from every group one person is appointed as candidate and will perform the speech to the group, basically. And performing the speech, it's not within certain, within different rounds there are different candidates because the role rotates every round, basically. So there is really, that role is focused on how you perform and how you influence. Then you have also observers or journalists, and they are actually during the game walking around and they report after the presidential candidates has performed their speech. They report the gossip, the challenges of the teams, or other events that might impact the voter's choice. Also, these roles can be rotating during the game. And then you have the voter, of course. And the voter, that's just everybody. Everybody can vote during the voting round. But with one rule, you cannot vote on your own candidate. So that are the roles that are within the game. Then you have the game flow. And the game flow is, these roles are coming back within the game flow, right? So a game starts with, you start to write your speech. Then you perform the speech. So there's the presidential candidate. Then you have the journalists that are coming with their presentations. And then everybody starts to vote. And you can see it here on the screen, actually on the picture, on the image, that there are on the door, there is a flip with the candidates there, and there people can vote actually as well. It can also be a hidden vote. It's up to the setting that we choose. And then you have the voting result. So far, that's the game flow. And then we start with the facilitation part that we added to the game flow. And we're going to ask everybody 3 questions, actually, all groups, everybody. And those 3 questions are: what went well? What did not go so well? And what do you need from yourself or others to improve? So basically, after one round, there comes the second round, and you want everybody to be prepared for that second round and actually have a kind of discussion about how did it go and how do we perform the next round, even better than we did. Or maybe you decide it went quite well already, but still there's always room to improve, basically. And that evaluation method actually that we use, that has a name, those 3 questions, it's part of the scenario method. And that scenario method we integrated actually in the game flow, and it is really quite natural that you can implement. It's not a basically hard stop, or that you think, oh, people has to write in a complete form. No, it's really low, really easy to implement in a game flow like this. And I think that is the message that I want to share as well. Your game design needs to be good, of course, but this is a way how you can implement that evaluation method already within your game flow. And this is really useful, because sometimes when I'm giving workshops or webinars, then all of a sudden time is up or something like that, or something happens, so you have to stop earlier than expected. Then this is really useful, because you have already insights in the learning experience of the people, because this scenario method actually helps you to get those insights already in an early stage, instead of first we really complete all rounds and after that we're gonna debrief and see what we learned. So it's really part of the process.
So connecting to this, we reviewed 30 case studies, and this was one of the 2 main components that leveraged the most learning from games. So all of the successful games had a method like this built into the program, and learning reflection started early in the game.
Thanks for the addition, Marieke. Definitely. So, and when you talk about learning, you have the 3 orders of learning, basically. The first order learning on the content, then the second order learning on the process, context, and the third order learning, that's on the reflection of your identity, your values, what can you, it's really on the behavioral side, I always said. And that is where we are actually running our game on as well. And out of the research, basically this method helped to get 27 times third order learning. And that's actually the highest level of learning that you can achieve. There was not so much first order learning. It's not like a real content that we share. No, this game is developed from a behavioral perspective more, and less from a content side itself. The outcomes as well, and that is what we experience as well, the game runs on itself, so there's not that much intervention needed. And basically, because in that game flow we actually included that scenario method, it helps us as well that within the structure of your session. And like I said, because we already do a kind of short debrief every round, short evaluation, there's more time afterwards to really dig into what happened and to translate it to what was learned to the, I always say real world practice, to their work environment, basically. So it gives us a lot of benefits, from a facilitator point of view as well. Yeah, so the scenario method we used, and like Marieke said, there are more cases where this is used and where it's really a good method that improves the learning results, and really a method where you can measure what is being learned. These are again those 3 questions. So what went well, what did not go so well, and what do you need from yourself or others to improve? And the first time, honestly, when I heard this, I thought, okay, is it that simple? Can I just include that and then it helps? And now I can say, yeah, it is that simple in a way. If you include this in your game design or game flow, it helps to really get the results that you want.
Ciska, I see Villa has a question.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thanks.
Yes, okay, thank you. I was thinking I could have the question also later, but I can. It was congratulations, really amazing results, getting such a high degree of third order learning, really
Thank you.
altering the human being, you would say. So, but there's a question. I've been. I also use this kind of third, even fourth order learning methods in understanding the iterative process of both learning and self-development as a process. But I'm thinking my experience is that when you reach this high third order learning in the students, then what happens is that the worldview changes for the participants, and really there is also emergence of second order learning and first order learning, but from a new perspective, creating new kind of novel realizations of first and second order learning that might be difficult to measure, but I believe that the phenomenon exists.
Yeah, for sure. They are linked. So if your worldview changes, you look at processes differently and also the content. So thank you for your addition. That's really a good addition.
Thanks.
Thank you. So yeah, so basically what we do, imagine you are in a room where you perform the session as a facilitator, and you have all those flips on the wall, and on every flip we write actually the answers on those 3 questions in different rounds, so you can really compare as well what happened during round 1, what happens during round 2. Did you change your strategy based on that? Why was it that you changed your strategy? Why did you stick to your strategy? And what was the outcome of that? So you really have a real reflection on that behavioral part actually as well. And with a game like this, we got answers like, okay, I'm actually following the rules that I don't like. Yeah. But I don't know, can I change that or not? So those kind of discussions are part of the third order as well, actually. So and as a facilitator, while it's placed around, it gives you really a lot of details already. You walk around, you see the results, and you can really dive into the deep because everything is already there on the wall. So that helps a lot. So yeah, the scenario method gives optimal feedback and goal achievement. That there is really a stronger adaptivity. The reflection, like we said, the third order learning was really high. But it's not only those 3 questions that we did, right? We are doing as well an introduction. And within the introduction, we already tell people like, okay, a game might be frustrated. You might feel like stuck. But that is where you start to learn really, right? If the game is going too easy, it's too easy to play the game, then basically there's not that much learned as well. So that frustration, you want as a facilitator the people to be on that level at one point in time. When I see that, I'm happy as a facilitator, because that is really the point where the learning starts. And so within the introduction, we ask questions on third level, but also within the repeated questions, it comes back, right? And because you include it within the game flow, it comes back every round. And that repeating gives so much value. And like I said, the debrief can be really fast. It's a consolidation of everything that you already did during the game, basically. So yeah, that was so far the experience with the president's speech. Marieke, I don't know if you want to add something that I missed, but...
No. So in this, we explained this game with this method. This was only one method we added to the game, next to the facilitation design, of course, and it was hugely powerful. But of course, you cannot do a lot more. But for those who are just starting, this could be a nice entrance method. And you also already have the most powerful method we have, because we conduct a lot of comparative studies, which mean we have multiple evaluation methods, which I'll show you later. And we compare the results of those evaluation methods within the same game. What do these methods tell us? How do they complement and how did they fit to get the learning out?
Yeah, perfect. So I think we can continue.
So this is the second example, TopSim. TopSim is a classical management game, which means you sit with a team behind a computer and you take decisions on certain aspects of management. Think of finance, think of human resources, think of logistics and marketing, etc. It's conducted at ZMS Stuttgart with many teams of students each year. And this gave us a real good lab to have a nice comparative study year after year. So at ZMS, they said, well, we do now mostly these standardized questionnaires, but we do not have the feeling we get out most. So we started with the scenario method, and Tobias Alf, one of the PhDs working there, started conducting the scenario method. And we have a nice paper on it, and you can read the results if you look up Alf et al. 2023. Yeah. And now I show you which 7 different complementary methods we use. This is a bit much. I don't advise you to do all of the time, but this is just to show you that we did this comparative study to see what learning comes out and also triangulate, okay, are these real good measurement methods we can actually use that deliver us the reliable and valid insights on what learning is happening in the game. And the first one you already know is the scenario method. And of course, Ciska, can you reverse?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have your standardized pre and post knowledge test. Depending on the goal of your game, it can be very relevant to know, okay, this was the knowledge people had before, and this is the knowledge afterwards. But we applied it actually to the ZMS TopSim study, and we actually got a lower measurement of learning afterwards. Wow, isn't that a surprising result? Because with the other methods, we measure a lot of learning. But what actually happens, this was a good result. The students realized we actually know less than we thought we know, and we have to learn a lot more to run the complexity of a full company. So their decrease in the knowledge test was surprising and maybe disappointing at first, but when giving a deeper look, because we use the other instruments, we found out, aha. And also, I think Einstein also said, the more we know, the less we know. Huh? So this is actually an increase in learning insight. Okay, I know this part, I can manage this part, but there's a lot more to learn from me as well. And this can be very positive for students to trigger their motivation to be active in the lessons, of course, because they know, oh, I still have to learn a lot. Yeah, so it's still useful. Then there's this third method. You see the brain with radars in it, the concept mapping or modeling method. Well, do you know mind maps or cognitive maps? So if you sort of start expliciting your thoughts, And you put it on cards, like Tiagi uses a lot of these methods to connect to the brains of people. Okay, give your input, put it on cards. One time we did it in a concept mapping, so we did it very freely. We made clusters of ideas and input of people. And we do this during reflections. So at the Top Sim simulation game, we ask students after round 2, when they are immersed in the game very well, okay, how do you think it works? What are important things in this game? And some groups we also ask to model it. So we did not only ask them to elicit their thoughts and their ideas, but you also ask them to make connections to, okay, marketing is connected to sales and human resources in this way, and this is how production and logistics are related. So, and we found that if you do first the brainstorming and then add the modeling, they learn a lot more. We had significant more learning because we gave the students the time to internalize their learnings and share the learnings in the group. So there were 5 people in the group, in a team, and they could learn different things from the different people in their group, and of course learn more from the game because they had a better idea of what they should learn, what was still vague, where could they find meaning in the feedback they got. Could you reverse to the other sheet, Ciska? So that is a concept mapping method you can use. And you can use it in addition to the scenario method or instead of the scenario method. It depends on the time you have and also what you think your target group likes to do. Then, of course, there are many qualitative ways to capture data and to make meaning of that data. And a couple of examples I have at example 4. So transcript coding and discourse analysis. Well, this means so you work out what actually is being said during reflections or during gameplay or especially during debrief. And then you assign codes to it. So you can say, okay, this is learning on the what level, on how to apply procedures, what knowledge is relevant to apply. Or on the second order level of Sharis, okay, they talk about processes and how they should deal with those processes and how they can optimize those processes. But of course, also learning can happen on an inside behavioral way that actually says, okay, yeah, we can do these processes really well, but should we be wanting to do this? Is this really the meaning of what we want to be doing? Do we just want to make profit, or do we also have a societal contribution, a sustainability contribution? So I think, especially in a management game like Top Sim, this is a very important question to ask, but also to uncover, to see, aren't we teaching with these management games capitalism? Aren't we teaching them depletion of the environment? So you also do this analysis to see if you got the goals of your game right. Then we have the 5th data point. You see the graph, number 5. It's the in-game performance data. And in-game performance data shows you the progression through the game. But it is not reliable as only source. Sometimes some games do have a lot of randomization built in the game models. So even a better team can score lesser because they had more bad luck, for instance. And also we witness that the people that maybe perform higher, they already had a sort of basic knowledge, so they actually learned less than the group that struggled more. So you still want to know the progression through the game, and it's relevant, but it's not the sole focus. And if you interpret data from the game, you can absolutely not depict, okay, this team performed best, they learned the most. You have to run other measurements to know if that's correct. Maybe they are, but maybe they aren't. So use other measurement methods. And of course, at many simulation games, a facilitator is present. So in this case, it was Friedrich Trautwein. He has been running the Topsim game for about 17 years now, I think. And he's very experienced in the game. He knows where students get trapped. He knows when to intervene. He knows how we can trigger them for learning. So also the specific facilitator observations and types of interventions should be analyzed if they are fitting to the student's needs and connecting to the student needs to get the learning out. So if you have do measurements on this, you can actually evaluate if your approach was effective or not. And how do you know what was effective? When it connected to the student questions and when you it shows that your interventions added more learning afterwards. I published an article on it, so you can actually see how you can measure that, how you can work this out, and also how you can evaluate your own effects. So no creepy researcher from outside has to research your effects, but you can do it by yourself. Okay, and we have a couple of learning inventory surveys that zoom into the conditions of learning. So Tobias Alf has a sort of conditions for learning inventory that may influence the effects of your game. And the motivation of the participants, the room setting, the pre-knowledge, etc., etc. That's incorporated in his story. And I will tell you more on the Petri et al. Questionnaire later on. So can you go further?
Oh.
Yeah, there you have it. Okay. Okay, move one down. No, one down. Yeah. So, any question? No. The Petri et al. Yeah, that one. Keep it. Yeah. Petri and his colleagues have a link to their materials and you can use them directly. So there's Excel sheets, there's facilitator sheets, there's participant sheets, there's guidance on how you should interpret your questionnaire. And if you're more advanced, you can even tailor the questions to your specific game. And what does he measure? It measures player experience and it measures usability. Well, in the core, you want to know about this because if the players experience too much frustration coming from the game design or the game flow or the game cognitive load the game generates through many rules and abbreviations, etc., you want to know because this affects your learning results. And also on the usability, well, you can design a very nice game, but if players do not experience it as accessible or operational, or if they are hindered by certain aesthetics, and this can differ per target group, you want to know about this because this can hugely affect their motivation, attitude toward the game, and inevitably the learning outcome. So I showed you a full spectrum of 7 methods that are complementary and that deliver you different results. And that can also mean that, okay, one time I use only those 2 measurement methods, and the next time I run game, I do the 2 other ones. And so you get gradually increase your insight. Can you go to the next one, Sis?
Yeah.
And just checking, how much time do we have left, Dr. Dubé?
5 minutes more.
Yes.
10 minutes? Yes. Okay. Thank you. So why do not we use self-assessment? Well, it contains behavioral changes. So eye tracking, logs, to see how people use the interface of a game or how they deal with the materials. Well, it does deliver you insight, but you can interfere it very difficultly, because you have so many differences in learning approaches. Also, from a person, some person really like to prepare well, and they really like to know all of the interface before they start. So they go through all of the interface and then they start. But some people are more experimental and they just start. So the eye tracking of the first person as opposed to the more explorative person will be totally different. And how do you then interfere their learning? For me, as a researcher at the moment, with the type of games I work with, I say, well, that really doesn't give me really good information on what's being learned. And I don't see reflection happening there. There are some game logs, but they are often related to game performance. And the game logs are so short that you don't see reflections there. There's a group of American researchers that sort of built in thought bubbles. Among others are Ciska Harte in that research. They build in thought bubbles to explicit the thoughts of the people. But this is what we are already doing with what went well, not so well, what could be improved. And you can apply it to a digital game, but you can also apply it to an analog game. So learning is not always visible. You have to triangulate and do not stick to superficial patterns or only questionnaires. This is my main message for this. Well, we can skip this. I already told you a little bit about it. Yeah, you can skip this too. So I want to tell you about this program. We did 15 years of research, and there were a lot of people from the ISAGA network participating in this research and delivering me cases on which I could apply all these methods. And at the conference, Ciska and I ran 5 workshops. We did not intend to at the start, but we started with a workshop on Tuesday. We had another one planned on Wednesday. And in between, we did another one on the Wednesday, and then on the Friday there was some open space, and more people came to us. Oh, we have additional questions. Well, we like to go to the other workshops as well, but we can do 2 more there in the afternoon, and they were fully visited. There is a big need for knowing about facilitation design. And facilitation design goes hand in hand with evaluation design. There's much overlap there. So we decided to offer a course on scripted facilitation. So what can you design ahead of your game session that really leverages the result and lowers your pressure to observe and to draw learnings out, because that already happens. So we organize online training, just a couple of evenings, 5 evenings, 2 hours an evening, to clarify what is scripted facilitation design, how can you optimize an introduction, how can you optimize the gameplay, how can you apply these evaluation methods on your own games, or how can you design an approach that would fit your own facilitation and gaming. And you're welcome and invited to join the training. We do it in the Netherlands, but we thought it would be a shame if many people cannot come to the Netherlands. We make a shorter course that's more doable for many people around the world. So if you want to know more, this could be a good option. And we keep the price as low as possible.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, so this is some background on that. If you think I'm interested more in the president's speech, you are more than welcome to reach out. You can also bring it into your own training program. Just reach out and I will tell you more about it. It really helps us a lot. We did a lot of sessions with a lot of different actually students, but also a lot of employees on management positions, but also just on the work floor, so positions. Yeah, it works out, and like Vele, you said, it's really it's focused on long-term learning, actually long-term behavior, long-term behavior. That is where it's about. And you saw already pictures. It's from 3 to 80 players. It can be played, and it's a really high energy game. But next to that, just reach out to us via LinkedIn. I would say we are more than happy to welcome you also in our network. And just reach out if you have any questions or additions. We are more than happy to share our experience. And Marieke wanted to say something still, I think.
Yeah. Can you put the links in the chat? And also, I have prepared a sheet on the special interest groups of ISAGA. We have online meets. Those are highly interactive, and those are taken care of by the participants. We organize relevant new trends, and that we discuss in these meetings. They are free to join for everyone. We do them half yearly. And around September, I will email everyone, okay, what are we going to do? I already got an input on what we should be doing from the conference people I met there. So I have a preliminary agenda. If you stop sharing, I can show the details of the SIG meeting we have planned for November 7th. Yeah. So there's a SIG meeting planned for November 7th. And it will be 10:30 to 13:30 Amsterdam time. So it will be the afternoon in India, in most of India. And we have updates on the conference. Okay, what were new insights on the conference, new trends? What were insights from the summer school? We can dive deeper into the comparative research for the researchers that really have to write academic papers on it. How do you do it? And I share all my approaches and materials to everyone who wants to have it, because I don't believe in competition. We should help each other. We have an AI track. Of course, AI is very relevant to discover in terms of risks, but also opportunities. We have to be knowledgeable about this, and also on the restrictions. There are also legal restrictions. I thought it would be nice to have prototyping sessions, so to invite people to bring their games and their facilitation designs and to just test it. And maybe we have some debriefing Olympics. So we play some shorter games, but the emphasis is on the debriefing Olympics. How do you do it? And then with a group of common people, you get your nice personalized feedback. And it's open to anything that's being brought in. Yeah? So are there any questions on the presentation or otherwise?
Okay, so any questions? Questions are invited from panel members as well as all the other participants. You can write your questions in the question and answer tab as well.
Yeah, I see we have one question in there, right? So I see you have advised to be careful with the game score performance, as sometimes good performance does not equal learning. In that case, which in-game quantifiable and objective parameter is more sustainable for mapping the zone of proximal development, skill versus challenge graph? At present, I'm using the game score as equivalent to learning and skill progression. That is the question that is in there right now.
Okay, can you answer it, Ciska, or
yeah,
should I?
You are also okay to answer it, but yeah, go ahead, Marieke.
Please go ahead, Ciska, because
Okay.
you read the question and I did not fully get it. Sorry.
Okay. So basically, how I read the question is, I'm now using this game score as equivalent to learning and skill progression, and yeah, you have to be careful with that. Yeah, that's true, because it does not equal learning. So basically, the parameter that is more suitable depends also on how the game is designed itself and how your game flow is actually being designed. Like a game flow, as the president's speech, you can implement the scenario method quite easy. But if you have another game flow, you might use the pre and post test, what Marieke said, in combination with other methods. So I think that I cannot, based on this information, cannot give you an advice to basically to use this or that method, because I don't know the game in this case. But if you want to share, more than happy to advise you in that. Yeah. But the most important message is to check how is my game flow, and what helps with the students that I get in there. So
yeah. So if you want to know more, you want us to think with you, just email us. We are very happy to think with you. And you could also check on, okay, do the game result couple with randomization? Because if the randomization is often used in simulation gaming for adding realism and complexity, but it can also, blur game results. So it's not one-on-one that you take a good decision and it always comes out well. So that is also, depending on what learning happens. And the pre and post knowledge test could render you both with a good positive or negative result. So if they learned, oh, I need to know much more, this is only the start, and the company managing is actually quite complex, that could be learning on a higher level than just reproducing content. So learning from games is most often on the higher levels, on the process learning and the behavioral learning. And the emphasis is oftentimes lesser on content and procedures, but it also depends on the type of simulation. Because in aviation and in healthcare, there's also many simulations that teach you certain procedures and that teach you certain content, to apply certain content knowledge. I hope that answers at least part of the question.
Yeah, I think it is. At least I got a message like, I will check as advised. And I said as well, if you want to have more details, just reach out to us. More than well, happy to share and help.
Yeah.
And I
Are
think
there
that
any other questions?
Okay. So no more questions. And
No more
now,
questions. Okay.
now to formally conclude the session, I now invite Dr. Jigyasu Dubey, coordinator of the Center of Excellence in Simulation and Gaming, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Rupali. Hello, everyone. Firstly, my sincere apologies for delay in today's webinar. Due to some technical glitch, we and our Vice Chancellor is unable to join on time. So our sincere apologies for that. At the outset, we express our sincere gratitude to Ms. Marieke and Ms. Ciska for accepting our invitation to conduct the third session of year 2025 and 68 of the series. And it was an enlightening session on evaluating impact through simulation and games. Thank you very much for being with us today and conducting this session. We are also thankful to the International Simulation and Gaming Association ISAGA for their support and collaboration in organizing this webinar series, Pratiti Becoming Aware. We express our sincere gratitude to Dr. Yogesh C. Goswami, Honorable Vice Chancellor of SVV Indore, for their continuous guidance and encouragement. Our sincere thanks to Dr. Anand Rajawat, Dean Academic, for their kind support. Our sincere thanks to our panelists, Dr. Elizabeth, Mr. Vile, Dr. Vinay, our regular attendees, and all other panelists and participants who make this webinar successful. I am also thankful to Dr. Rupali Bharti and my team of Center of Excellence in Simulation Gaming, as well as IT team for the university for their kind support. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. With that, we officially conclude today's session of Pratiti webinar third of the season. And before we close, a gentle reminder to all the participants to please fill out the feedback form shared in the chat box. Your feedback to get your e-certificate of participation. And we look forward to your presence in the upcoming webinars of this series. So stay connected, stay inspired, and continue to explore the power of simulation and gaming. We wish you all a wonderful day indeed. Thank you. Thank you, all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Vinod sir. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for the excellent organization, Dr. Rupali.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Ciska, ma'am.